Hey y'all! It has been about 10 days since the last video I did, which is hands down the longest gap since the injury and when I've been doing the video updates. And the reason for that is because the last 10 days have been a lot less exciting in a good way. I have just been laying low and focusing my energy on healing, which has been just about the same type of thing every day. So again, gets a little boring. But I do have quite the routine going with the healing process in terms of, what I'm eating every day and the vitamins I'm taking and the exercises that I'm doing. So I figured now is a good point to just kind of pull it all together and share with you the different things that I have been doing in order to heal and recover. And I'm happy to report that I think it must be working, because the way I feel is exponentially better than the last videos I've done. It's even been over a week since I've taken any form of synthetic pain management whatsoever. Not even an over-the-counter pain pill, so that's been excellent, and I still feel pretty good. I'm able to manage it well, so I will share with you some of my healing process and hope that if you're going through something similar, maybe a few of these takeaways work well for you and your body as well. So it started off doing quite a bit of research in terms of good things to look into. One of the preferred sources that I found, which had a lot of academic professional citations and seemed the most legit, and also kind of reconfirmed a lot of the other things I had been reading elsewhere online, is a PDF document by betterbones.com about fracture healing. And it's really good because it's not too technical or complicated, like a lot of more academic papers can be, but it goes over and outlines the healing process, as well as natural pain management approaches and nutrients that your body needs to really utilize as tools for healing as best you possibly can. So I will try and figure out, finagling YouTube, and how to attach the link to this PDF document onto the video, probably in the description section. And then outside of that, I took a trip to the library last week and found, my friend actually sought for me this book called Bone Health by Schneider, who's a doctor, and goes over, let's see, there we go, Bone Health, Schneider. And he, I believe, is a geriatrician, so deals with a lot of elderly patients who definitely have issues, because that subset of the population definitely tends to have more issues when it comes to fractures and bone density. So he's done a lot of research and goes over not only just over-the-counter things you can do in terms of nutrients and building up your bone density and healing, but also goes over a lot of the prescription type bone strengthening treatments that are out there as well. And I think the main thing that was applicable for me and that I've used as a takeaway was this little section on the different nutrients and foods and everything. And the main superfoods that he recommends include almonds, halibut, salmon, green leafy vegetables, and citrus. Which is interesting, because as soon as this happened, I have definitely been craving more oranges, which have been in season, and salmon than I have in a very long time. So I've made sure to eat those, and it was just a nice reinforcement to see that written in there. And I've also been upping my intake of almonds and not halibut, but hey, maybe I'll try it out, because prior to this, I definitely didn't like to emphasize animal protein. I would eat fish maybe once a week, But since it's happened and I know my protein intake has needed to increase in order to keep up with the demand, because of how much more my body's utilizing to heal the fracture space, I've definitely increased the amount of protein I've taken in, and in order to diversify that, I've relied more on some animal protein, and therefore I've been eating a bit more fish lately, probably 2 or 3 times a week instead of just once a week. So those are the 2 main resources that I've used in terms of, more credible resources that I've used. Outside of that, meditation and prayer have been very helpful for me because I tend to be more of a spiritual person, and it's incredibly empowering when you're able to harness some of that in order to heal. So a lot of, in terms of like the meditation facet, I've definitely been focusing on taking very consciously deep breaths, because it's good just to be able to have the oxygen flow throughout your body and make sure all the oxygen reaches all of your cells, which helps in the healing process. And I'll even visualize sometimes, like when I'm doing meditations, like taking deep breaths and visualizing the oxygen molecules going straight to the source that needs to be primarily healed, which is my L1 vertebrae in my spine. Another visualization / meditation that's been pretty helpful for me has been visualizing the dissolving of the bone fragment that was stuck in that probably is still stuck in my spinal column, because just trying to visualize consciously on a regular basis that just dissolving further and further and being less and less of an interference in that area, I think has been very helpful. And I think it's worked in the sense that I have also had less nerve interference that I initially had when the injury happened. So hopefully those visualizations are working. I also like to picture light, just kind of from my philosophy, like God's light shining on my spine and kind of strengthening my spine. So visualizing light is helpful when it comes to healing. Also, when I'm eating and drinking, like the nutrients in the food I eat, like if I'm about to eat a meal, like I'll try and be very conscious of me eating and visualizing the nutrients dispersing within my body, finding the sources within my body that need healing, and visualize those, cells actually healing and those nutrients actually contributing to healing those cells. Again, prayer is also very helpful. Within the umbrella of prayer for me, it is definitely just keeping a mindset of gratitude, because it is miraculous when you can have that shift in perspective, and instead of being severely injured and constantly saying, why me, and this is so bad, this is so negative, and kind of having your own pity party, it's amazing how much better you feel when you're just grateful for the fact that you are still alive and have the possibility to come out of this being completely normal again, and are able to, wiggle my toes when I want to. Like that's a miraculous thing, and something I'm thankful for, and the gratitude and the prayer associated with it has been very, very helpful and refreshing, because it's hard to recover when you're negative. It's so much easier to recover when you have more peace of mind and a positive outlook on the whole situation, and an optimistic outlook on the whole situation. So not only positive thoughts, but also from me, but positive thoughts and prayers from people around me are very helpful, because I do believe in the power of prayer. So thanks again to everybody out there who has been praying for me. I think it really does help, and I'm sincerely grateful for it. Sleeping. When your body is going through a major healing process, sleep is crucial, because that's when it's repairing and restoring. And it's kind of incredible, because I don't think my body has craved this much sleep since puberty. So I've been sleeping like a teenager again and just trying to manage my day to where I can let myself do that. And when I'm tired, I sleep and I wake up feeling better each and every time. So I'm very thankful for sleeping. Um, Walking and moving when tolerated is a good idea, at least for my particular injury, because I am able to walk and move and I keep my brace on, my lovely back brace, while I'm doing that to stay relatively stable, and make sure I'm not bending or twisting in ways that I was told not to bend and twist in order to further aggravate the injury. But I have been trying to kind of push my limits a little bit each day, to the point where like I'm not letting any of the muscles in that area atrophy, to where I'm promoting a decent amount of circulation through that area in order to heal. So I've been trying to walk and move within my guidelines on a daily basis until I start to feel a little sore. Then I listen to my body and I go lay down again for a while. So yeah, walking's good. And just standing, because sometimes I don't even have to walk for very long. Just standing for a little, 10-20 minutes at a time can be enough strain for me to want to lay down again. Posture is obviously key. Well, not necessarily obviously, but given the nature of my injury and the compression fracture, one of the main things that's going to keep me from having to have surgery is being able to keep my spine straight. So I don't think I've had such good posture since I did ballet as a child, because I'm constantly having to stand up straight, because that's how I want the spine to regrow and remold itself. And that's been a bit of a challenge, but it's worth it, because if I can avoid surgery by having good posture, it's worth the conscious effort of making sure I'm wearing my back brace, and even when I'm not, having the best posture possible. So, and in regards to the back brace and, maintaining posture, because I'm having to wear the back brace all the time, my general practitioner did mention some issues with the back brace that I wasn't necessarily aware of, but makes sense considering on how I was feeling. But she brought it to the forefront of my consciousness by saying that when you're wearing a back brace and you have all of that restriction, because it's wrapped really tight around my torso, kind of like a funky looking space corset, to be honest with you. And she even said, she's like, when it's wrapped that tight around your torso, you have to make that much more of a conscious effort to get to fill your lungs with oxygen on a regular basis, because people have more ongoing issues even after the back brace is off, because their body wasn't able to take deep breaths. So although it's difficult to take deep stomach-based breaths with the back brace on, like I have been making a much more conscious effort even outside of meditations to make sure I breathe and my lungs completely fill with oxygen, so as not to retrain them in a negative way to not take in as much oxygen. Also, because of the restrictions around your abdomen, there's a lot of issues people tend to have with back braces in terms of digestion and being constipated. So she specifically said, make sure you are, taking in a high fiber diet to keep everything moving in a kosher way. So some food for thought, literally and metaphorically, on back braces and some potential side effects. Heat is another great thing that's been helpful in my healing process. I have a heating pad that I use if I'm just taking a nap or something. I'll put the heating pad on the injury area, take a nap, and then I do notice quite the difference from when I wake up from a nap and I've used the heating pad, and how much better I feel versus if I haven't used the heating pad and I only feel like marginally a bit better. So I do believe the heat and drawing circulation to that area, so your cells are incentivized to go to that area, do all their work, is very helpful in the recovery process. And taking baths, like taking a warm bath, is very helpful because it's heat, so you're circulating your blood around, you're circulating everything around, and helping heal. And also, especially for a spinal injury, it's nice because you have that feeling of weightlessness. So it's a nice, relaxing, no stress environment for my spine to be in. Also, I have a seat cushion in terms of not putting pressure on your spine for when I'm sitting down. And what helped me get through the 5-hour plane flight, turbulent plane flight home from Hawaii right after the injury happened, is one of those seat cushions that displaces the pressure on your spine when you are sitting vertically. And I've been using it ever since. So it is kind of funny, like walk in and, to a restaurant or something, and I've got this really hilarious space corset back brace, and I've got my seat cushion with me, and like, I am that person right now. But hey, if that's what gets me through it, like, that's what I will do. So on that note, laughter I think is really helpful as well. And a source of gratitude, definitely, when it comes to laughter, is the sense that when I was first injured and a little bit thereafter, it hurt pretty bad to laugh because of the interference that the bone fragment had with my nerves. So every time I would laugh a lot, get a laughing fit, like psychologically I would feel better, but physically and nerve-wise, I was in so much pain in my legs. Like every time I'd laugh, I'd have this pretty severe pain in my legs to where, like, even if I was laughing and I was standing up, I would laugh and it was so painful that I couldn't even really stand because the pain in my thighs was so bad. And so I start, like, it's not the whole week at the knees, it's like weak in my nerves. And so I'm laughing and like kind of falling to the ground a bit, but I'm still laughing, but I'm hurting. It was just a really awkward, like, clusterfuck, excuse my French, of a situation to be in. So now that I'm able to laugh a little bit easier, I am grateful because my legs don't hurt as bad when I laugh. And it's a great endorphin release. I think laughing is good for healing and just maintaining a positive outlook in life regardless. Some of my favorite shows have just been like, I'll sit down and I'll Netflix like a season of Archer, because Archer is hilarious and for me. And I love South Park, and one of my friends who understands my kind of awkward sense of humor like told me about this new show on through Adult Swim called Rick and Morty, which is also hilarious. If you have like a South Park or Archer sense of humor, I definitely recommend checking out Rick and Morty because it's bizarre but flippin' hilarious. And even funny pet videos on YouTube, I'm a sucker for those as well. Those kind of help you heal. And that kind of segues into my next recommendation for healing, which is pets. For instance, I have 3 lovely dogs and a cat named Emily. I can't lift up all my dogs, but my little light one here I'm able to lift because she's like 5 pounds or less. So this is Belly. Hi, Belly. Hi, guys. So she's helped me heal a lot. And I have a terrier mix and a German Shepherd who are also just been little angels in this process and love the fact that I'm taking a lot of naps, so they'll nap with me. And Bella, the Chihuahua who I just showed you, it's funny how instinctive animals are when it comes to injuries, to the point where as soon as I got home, every time I go to sleep and she's around me, instead of curling up kind of like near my torso, or maybe where my legs were bent on the bed and kind of finding a little nook there, she's foregone her usual positions and gone to sleeping right over where my back injury is. Like, she'll kind of cuddle up right by my spine next to my L1 vertebrae no joke, it's impressive and kind of amazing. So yay for pets again on that one. And if you don't have pets, again, funny YouTube videos of animals can probably help just as much. Music is really helpful as well. Just having that distraction, like your favorite songs, your favorite television shows, like things that are going to lift you up and make you feel good and release endorphins in your brain is probably a good thing to help you heal. And even being able to kind of dance around a little bit within your limitations is helpful. Because I'm someone who loves to dance, so it works out okay. It just looks silly when I'm like dancing around in my space corset. So on to more tangible things within your body that are helpful for healing that I found that have really become a stronghold in my daily regimen. First of which is protein. Books I've read, websites I've gone through, just different sources. Like, protein is key when it comes to fracture healing, because apparently your body requires that much more protein in order to rebuild the bone and make it strong. So I want the strongest piece of L1 vertebrae getting rebuilt back into my spine. So I have definitely upped my protein intake. And I'm trying to make it relatively diverse. That way my body gets a wide variety of what it might want for protein at any given time, like to rebuild in the best way. So I'm definitely more of a plant-based person. So I'm relying on a lot of Vitamix made leafy green, like a lot of leafy greens, a lot of beans. Like I've mentioned, I've upped my intake of fish, just to get more in there. You know, I try not to rely too much on soy, but I do like to diversify it into my diet a bit. So I've even upped my intake on soy a little bit, respectively. In order to really get some jam-packed protein in there, which isn't always easy to do without processed foods, or like excessive amounts of meat, which obviously isn't my style. So I actually found 2 protein powders that I really like that also, the first one is called Protein and Greens. Here we go. By Paradise, I believe, is the name of the company. And I like this one as well because not only does it have 22 grams of protein per serving, which is a nice shock of protein for my body, but it is loaded with all kinds of other vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, antioxidants. Like, I guess it's got like an ORAC score of 40,000, which is amazing. It's got probiotics, it's got amino acids, which are the building blocks of proteins. So I think that's a pretty good one to start my day with on a clean system. And then another one, because again, trying to kind of diversify here and there, is another plant-based protein, which also has some extra goodies in it and has like a ORAC score of 30,000, and also has the omega-3, 6, and 9 fatty acids in it. So I'm trying to just mega nutrient my way through life right now and just throw everything I can at my body in like a clean way. So it's got options and lots of good tools to utilize to rebuild. So outside of those and the protein thing, calcium is obviously big, but so I've been relying more on like extra leafy green vegetables for the calcium. And your body is kind of fickle in the way, from what I understand, that it absorbs calcium. Like, it needs just the right amounts of calcium and magnesium and vitamin D to manage the absorption process. So with that, not only have I been upping my intake of the leafy green vegetables, and something to consider is that protein, even the plant forms, but particularly the animal forms, actually cause a reaction within your body that usually robs extra calcium from your system. So it's important to make sure you are countering that with all the extra protein that you're taking in. Make sure you're getting the extra calcium as well. And again, being able to try and give your body the supplemental nutrients that it needs in order to absorb the calcium. So in order for my body to get in like a decent source of magnesium, I've been a fan of this stuff for a while called Natural Calm. It's like an anti-stress drink. It's magnesium based. And it actually tastes really good too. So I've been using that for magnesium. And then I also have a vitamin D supplement, which, you know, vitamin D, it's good to take as a supplement, but nothing beats some sunshine. So I've definitely been trying to go out on the sunny days, even though it's still technically winter, and soak up some rays to get some vitamin D, within moderation, of course. And then I also have, I guess zinc is another good nutrient to be getting in right now. So I have this like calcium, magnesium, and zinc supplement that I'm taking. And I, years ago, when I took calcium supplements, ended up getting kidney stones. So I'm very cautious of that now. When I ingest calcium, I really try to make it through a food form. So that way my body can hopefully process it a little bit better versus like breaking down a bulky supplement version. But given my circumstance, I am taking some extra supplement with it and just making sure my body does have what it needs to break it down. But I'm drinking a lot of water as well and a lot of tea to keep everything flushing through my system and hopefully not building and harboring any little stones that might be trying to take place in my kidneys. Because I can't imagine trying to pass kidney stones with a broken spine. It just seems horribly painful. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Let's see. Anti-inflammatory nutrients are pretty big deal right now because obviously there is a lot of inflammation, inflammatory and oxidative stress kind of happening in my body, given the injury. So I've definitely, like, I'm good about taking vitamin C and, you know, different forms of omega-3 fatty acids, but I'm even better about it than usual. And the way I have, instead of just taking a vitamin C supplement, I have found this really awesome supplement that's got quite a bit of vitamin C, like a lot of vitamin C in it, but is also loaded with the B complex vitamins, which are amazing right now because they are helpful for nerve health. So obviously there's been some nerve re-strengthening that's needed to happen given the nature of my injury. So I was lucky enough to find this, so I'm getting my vitamin C and my B vitamin complex all in one supplement. Let's see. Oh, I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but I've known of it for a while from a lot of different sources. First person who ever told me about it was actually a surgeon, and he recommended it to all of his patients in their recovery process. Is bromelain? Bromelain? Bromelain. Excuse me for not being able to phonetically pronounce it. But it's primarily found in pineapple, and they sell pineapple enzyme if you don't like eating pineapple, but I've definitely been eating more pineapple to ingest that nutrient so that way I can give my body more of a natural anti-inflammatory, which is nice. So lots of pineapple smoothies. And then I usually take my normal like multivitamin, which has got all the typical daily stuff that you want in, but now I'm just adding a few more things on top of it to keep everything as healing friendly as possible in my system. And yeah, just been blending up a lot of good stuff, and like I mentioned before, a lot of extra water and tea to keep everything flushing through my system, moving through my system, and having my body be able to readily expel all of the extra things that it doesn't need. So yeah, I think everything's been helping quite a bit, because I honestly feel better, like significantly better each day. Like I said, I haven't even taken a pain pill in over a week, which is amazing for me and just great peace of mind. And just two things that I want to know, almost as like disclaimers for this, is that please know that I am not a professional healer in any way. So I always encourage you to do what works best for your own body. I just want to share some of the findings that have helped me quite a bit with my own recovery. And also, I am not sponsored or professionally affiliated with any of the brands that I've referenced throughout this video, so don't think that I'm getting any kickbacks from it or anything like that. These are things that I genuinely am using and believe in, and hopefully might help in terms of being a resource for you and giving your body everything it needs to be optimally healthy and recover from Lord knows what you might have, and particularly a bone fracture. This is what's been working so far. So take care, don't jump. That's always the thing now. Just avoid the injury in general. I think that should be mentioned, and just don't jump off of 35-foot cliffs into water unless you really know what you're doing. So take care. Bye guys.